Good evening, everybody, and thank you for the warm welcome. I was telling one of our friends, Villanova, how much we strive, we, saying the Consul General, to come out a little bit from our walls and reach out to the young population. The interaction with students is one of my favorite, and with the professors as well. I praise what Luca is doing here at Villanova very highly. So you are, I think, lucky to have access to such a, intellectual, let's call it that way. Secondly, yes, I wanted to say that it's very easy to speak about the grandeur of Italy in the past. It's almost too easy, or it's almost too easy to linger on, the stereotypes, the food, the cars. Okay, everybody's got that in mind. And sometimes when I end up in dinners where everybody speaks about food, I say, actually, I like to speak to an audience with full bellies, because otherwise they are fixated with Italian food. Okay, jokes apart. This tonight is quite challenging, and the title is a little bit of a thesis. You could spend an age, working out what it means. And I'll try to be brief and give you, an overall view of what we have in mind when we speak about Italy today, the excellence and the fundamentals of its economy. So I start with a very basic slide, which has to do with things you could do after you exit this beautiful university for experiencing some other stint, some other mandates in other organizations that deal with Italian, or could help you develop you as Italian students. So you can take a snapshot, or you can discuss that later with your teachers. But this is what actually happens when you speak, you think about opportunities of work, opportunities of careers other than Villanova. And now, let's concentrate, let's start with business. We Italians are part of the G8, we are part of the G20, and we have a particular skill in trade surplus. The trade surplus with America, with US alone, is $32 billion every year. This is the surplus, not the overall amount of trade. And we are, I think, specialized in the manufacturing sector, which shows even, the overall balance with the world, not with America. These $100 billion are with the world. And Italy is first in EU for pharmaceutical manufacturing. That's a kind of primacy that we grabbed from Germany a year ago. We are second in the world for trade surplus in the wood furniture industry, and second in the world for market share in the fashion industry. Fashion industry. I draw your attention, sorry about that. I draw your attention on that. Italy produces more than 1/3 of the added value in the EU. So all the trademarks, all the innovation, all the, they are concentrated in Milan. Milan is a huge hub for fashion and design. So when you speak about fashion design, Italy is really at the forefront. We are the forerunner of many, many ideas. And one of the best things you could do in your life is walk around during the design week in Milan, where they keep their atelier, they keep their shops open, their workshops open till midnight. They offer you a drink, a Prosecco. You speak with the beautiful designers. It's fantastic. We are the first country in the world in the luxury goods industry, with 25 companies in the top 100. So, Bulgari, Prada, Gucci actually was bought by the French, but it's still an Italian company in the concept, and many, many others. This particular primacy is interesting because apparently the consumption of luxury goods in Europe is picking up speed right now, and I also have an explanation, and I'll tell you later. It's a fact that puts us at the at the front of this trade with beautiful brands, and maybe it's also the case to say we have, as a Consul General, a festival, maybe some of you know, ciaophiladelphia.com, and one of the events was focused on the brands and entrepreneurs of Italy of the last 50 years, which was a terrific success. So I really prompt you, every of you, of spending 5 minutes, open your computers, pick up an event, and attend. It's fantastic. It's fabulous. Also to meet and mix up and mingle with other people. Right. Italy is the most sustainable country in the agriculture industry, and 58.8 billion euros of added value by the agri-food sector, and first country in the world for DOP, protected designation, and IGP. One of the questions of my last conference was a guy that said, what Italy is doing to protect us because we end up in supermarkets where we see, for instance, Parmesan cheese made in Wisconsin. And I say, yeah, okay, but you cannot protect 635 products. This is the magnitude, the scope of our production, which is protected and certified. So we must be happy that there is not, at least not yet, an Amarone from California. And also, it's very difficult to wage a war, against these little producers. I guess that it all boils down to raise a conscience on the consumer that that type of cheese, that type of oil, that type of balsamic vinegar is actually not the same as the one he can buy with a made in Italy product. And imagine going to walk in the streets in Italy as American citizen, and you see a very nice Harley Davidson, which is an icon of the American production. You come closer, it's fantastic. You wanna try it, and then you come closer, and it says "Made in Italy." How would you feel? I think you would balk at the idea of a piece of machinery like that made in Italy. And we also have this little, reflex when we see, I don't know, I was posted in Australia, there were many people copying our prosciutto and all our, products, and it was a little bit, disturbing, but this is life. You can wage a war on that. Now, Italy is second in the circular economy among the largest European countries. What does that mean? It means that we have the most efficient use of materials, okay, behind only UK, and in front of France, Spain, and Germany, and the highest percentage of recycling, 76.9%, okay? Now, if you read the news, you open an Italian newspaper, they all complain about the trash in the collection of trash in Rome or Naples. They show heaps of, it's quite disturbing and a little bit, I don't know, it's partial, because the truth is that we have the primacy for recycling of the waste against the 36% of EU average. I think that this is quite a generous and an exciting feat to share with you tonight. And also, for every kilogram of consumed resources, Italy produces €4 of GDP. €4, it's a lot. Now, I was always attracted by the ingenuity. You have a process in industry, and the Italian guy invents the procedure, invents the robot, invents the automation. We are, I think, maniacs of inventing the machine that builds another machine, or the builds that are used for industrial purposes. So we invest a lot in machine and equipment, and there's a beautiful comparison with German ones. So our investment have grown twice the rate of Germany. Research and development. First country for companies' investment, not public investment. We are faring badly in public investment. But these guys on the free market, they know exactly what they need to do and where to invest. And they have invested a lot in research and development. Italy, second from the number of designs protected by the EU IPO. Again, what I was saying before, design, great hub, Milan. So this is also a tidbit which I find really nice. According to Google Trend 2017, the Made in Italy brand is the third best known after Coca-Cola and Visa. Ain't that fantastic? So another, when you think about Italy, stop thinking only about the literature, the museums, the beautiful music. And it's not just that. It's like I'm writing here, it's nanotechnology, aerospace, and green industries. So when I was posted in Philadelphia, my Ministry of Foreign Affairs, my employer, they told me, read that. And it was a booklet about all the activities of cooperation between Italy and US. 40 pages were dedicated to this guy over there. 40 pages. So the collaboration between Italy and NASA is more than the collaboration between Italy and the other EU countries. It's staggering. And if these guys know how to speak, this funny language of rocket science, that there must be something said. These are beautiful minds at work. Leadership position for trade surplus in 935 products. What is a leadership position? It means a position that shows exports at first place, second place, third place. So if the overall merchandise is traded in the world is 500, about almost 1/5 is merchandise that have got the beautiful mark that you said that you've seen before, made in Italy. I was maybe inviting those gentlemen to sit there. There's plenty of space, eh? Why don't you come and sit? It's going to be hard to stand up. Come on, don't be shy. Come on, guys, come on. If you don't come, I'll stop speaking. It's I'll blackmail everybody. Okay. Thank you. Don't be shy. Now, Italy is the world's leading manufacturer of makeup with 55% of the world's share. Amazing. One of the best known makeup manufacturer lives in New York, and she's called Clio Makeup. Maybe the young ladies, they've heard the name. And she came to Philadelphia 2 weeks ago for a beautiful conference on her activity. She's an influencer. She has 10,000 of likes every day online. It's fabulous. So what does this industry says? It's non-cruel. They will eliminate microplastics from cosmetics. They banned non-biodegradable plastic, cotton swabs, and we will be the first country in the world to do so. So they have awareness with the environment. It's not just, churning out big wagons of makeup for the pleasure of selling. And I will take I will borrow one of your recounts. That there was a guy who was the CEO of Bottega Veneta. He came here, I think, to Villanova. No, he was in Villanova, and from what Luca says, and I will remember forever. He said publicly, the aim, the goal of our activity is not profit. So what the heck can be? I mean, for a capitalistic mind like ours, perhaps. Okay. It's a little bit of an anathema to say that. And he added, the goal of our activity is perfection, okay? That's a little bit different. So this is to let you understand the mind, the complexity, and also the beauty of working with these guys. Every car assembled by Porsche and BMW has got 70% and 40% of Italian input respectively. What does that mean? When the automotive market grows in Germany, who do you think is getting the most money? It's us. It's fantastic. And no one knows that. You climb in a beautiful Porsche. It has the roar of the motor is beautiful, but then no one knows that the brakes are Italian, that all the systems. It's 70% Italian. It's amazing. So this is sources. This Confindustria. Sorry about that. Confindustria is the association of employers. Right. Let's speak about macroeconomics a little bit. Italy is one of the EU countries with the best deficit GDP ratio, and it explains why. It has grown a little bit. Now in 2018, it's 3.4, okay? But look at the other big countries. Huh? And since '92, Italy has been having a primary surplus for the students of economics. It's the difference between income from taxes and government spending, excluding interest paid on government debt, for almost 27 consecutive years. So all these, I wanted to add something, all these theories on development, okay, that say financing development, GDP growth with deficit is wrong, and I am totally, for it. I buy it. But then check at Italy, check at Belgium, check at Japan. Japan has got 200, help me out here, I think 230% that GDP growth, 230%, amazing. And yet they are the fourth powerhouse of the world. Maybe they are not growing so much now, but you need to ask yourself, is growth really necessary to an extent where it's not sustainable? That is another story. Maybe we'll linger on that issue later. But the practice shows that sometimes financing the growth with debt has shown successful. But I'm not in favor. I think that the stagnation will become decline, because when you cannot afford big expenditure, when your GDP is flat, say it's not going back but flat, in the long term it means trouble. You have to still bear in mind how to grow, but that's another story. Let's keep going. Yeah. If we consider the aggregate debt, some of public and private, Italy is one of the less indebted EU countries, because you focus on the public debt, it's not enough. And I'll let your teacher tell you later in one of your lessons who is the country which has the worst pro capita public and private debt. I'm not going to say it tonight. Only 1/3 of the Italian public debt is financed by foreign investors, which means our debt is demanded by Italian public. And I can tell you, in Japan, it is possible to have 230 debt GDP ratio, because that share is 85%. So it's the Japanese families that are so in love with their government, they keep financing, keep financing, keep financing. The domestic private sector is one of the financially strongest, and the cross-border position is better than that one of many other OECD countries. At the end of 2017, the Italian household net wealth was 9,743 billion euros. Now, I underline this, mark my words, 8 times the household disposable income. So beware to those stats. You have to intertwine them. You have to cross-check them. So you read in the paper, oh my God, Spain has now a per capita wage bigger than Italy. We are going down. It's, our consumption is atrociously small, and our perspective are looming a disaster. No, no, sir, because these family in northern Italy especially, from generation and generation, have saved a lot of money, and they are almost bursting with savings. The average saving of an Italian family, I'm speaking average saving of an Italian family, it was today on the Corriere della Sera, the national newspaper, is 400,000 euros. Now, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So these guys from generation have bought beautiful cars, have bought real estate, have bought financial assets, have bought land, have bought yacht. They are rich. They are very rich. Which doesn't say that we don't have poverty. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we don't have unemployment, that everything is fantastic. I'm saying that concentrating only on one little figure, it's misguiding. That's a word. So Italian household saving is among the highest in the world. Over the last 15 years, Italian households have saved 6.6% of their income, while their average is 6%. And that's a very new news that appeared in the papers yesterday. In the last 4 years, the Italian per capita income has grown in line with Germany and more than France. So again, don't stop at the wage, don't stop at the productivity, although they are very important, but there's more to it. So that explains a lot, explains why you go around Italy, the restaurants are always open, and there's a staggering 107 billion of gambling every year. 60% of the families, they choose to go on long holidays overseas. 65%, sorry. They have 1.5 cars per family, okay? They have 36% of the people have an enrollment, how do you say, a ticket for the fitness centers. They live well. They live well, and their consumption rates are high. Again, I think that the problem is stagnation and the labor market, because in the long term, if you don't introduce liberal measures for the labor market, stagnation will bring you down. Productivity in the manufacturing sector, in a nutshell, oh, sorry about that. Yep. In the manufacturing sector, private sector, it is going steadily on the rise. So again, the newspaper saying Italy has not, I swear to God, I keep reading these things, that Italy has not have a surge in productivity for 20 years. You have to, choose your words. You have to, make distinctions. It's not true. So that explains also why some regions like Emilia-Romagna, beautiful region, is the second in the European Union for export intensity. The number of the proceeds from export divided from the population means second in European Union. Okay. I won't linger on that because I spoke already about this. We We are down here. We are down here. Look at that. So we're doing better than Denmark, France, Great Britain, Deutschland, etc., etc., etc. That's amazing. I didn't know that. It's quite surprising. It's quite surprising. And when you need to evaluate the performance of an economy, especially study the behaviors of families, you have to check these data first. 17.5% of Italian energetic needs were covered by renewable resources in 2017. And we are the first in Europe for renewable resources. We have anticipated the EU goal of having 17% coverage by 2020. Another fantastic primacy, I find it. And this is a little bit the map of what happens in the industrial district. Sorry, there's anyway, it's not clear, but in a nutshell is that the fabric of the Italian economy at microeconomic level is built vertically. We have this district where from A to Z they build everything. And they are swift, they are medium and small enterprises that adapt to the market so rapidly that not even the consumers understand. And we can say that when we try to get some big tenders in the international markets, we are crushed by the big multinationals. But this is not about winning the tenders. It's about, like I said before, a certain quality, a certain perfection of their production. So, industrial district means a region that covers a whole supply chain, and it has to do with small and medium enterprises, and you can read all the, high internationalization. The specifics of the word district is that. University innovation and research. Now, Italy's skilled workforce offers a better cost performance than its comparable European partner. So the workforce is, comparison, it's cheap and qualified. There are 33 universities among the best 500 in the world, according to the ranking 2019. But we have a university, which is La Sapienza of Rome, that ranks #1 in literature and arts of the antiquity, first of the world. Third in Europe and fifth in the world for most quoted academic publications. And I have also to say that 36,000 American students every year fly to Italy and try to study in the American campuses there or some of our universities, which is the second country they fly to after Great Britain for an obvious reason of language. Another thing by which I have to underline, Italy ranks third in the Europe and fifth in the world for most quoted academic publications. Third largest exporter of flexible manufacturing technology, including robotics. We are #5 in the world, actually, but third exporter, okay? Okay, what does this slide tells you? It tells you that Italy is a country of self-employed men. And inside the category, the most self-employed are the immigrants. Funny fact for everybody. We have 8% of the population in Italy which is immigrant, currently working, papers okay? 8%, but they pay 9% of the taxes. So these guys are doing us a big favor, And there were also researches for how much, what is their percentage to the contribution of GDP, but that it must be crossed with other data. Robots we spoke about, if you look at the ranking of the best artificial intelligence experts, guru in the world, there are 20 people. 3 of them are ladies coming from Italy. Amazing. And if you check on Ciao Philadelphia, we also sometimes have an event on automated intelligence, which I invite you to attend. Now, this is again the aerospace. Second country in the world to launch a civil satellite into orbit. Third contributing country to European Space Agency. And Italy is on Mars with the Italian radar. It was the radar that found the water under the surface of Mars. So it was made by a company, an Italian company, which is outstanding. It's fantastic. So they, like I say, like I write down, they identified a large saltwater lake, 1.5 k's underneath the red planet South Pole. Architecture. The Italian design firm Progetto CMR has conceived and won the first tender for the first low-carbon districts in Shenzhen, China. The city represents an example of environmental sustainability and human-scale development inspired by technological research, and it will be finished in 2020. So it's like a pride for the Italian ingenuity to have built a city like that will host 1 million Chinese people, and totally self-reliable, no waste, and intelligent mobilization of the population to transportation. It's one of these cities everybody dreams of living in. And have you ever seen the vertical forest? I think so. If you haven't, this is the skyscraper that won so many prizes in the world. It's located in Milan. And Milan, I think it's one of the cities that grows better. I shouldn't say that because but in the world, it's so staggering and amazing what the things they do. They had a very successful Expo 2016, and then they started to develop a new CBD, and these beautiful skyscrapers are based in the CBD of the city. I really recommend to go there. It's a hub for finance, hub for fashion, design. It's one of the best city and more dynamic. You have also the business center, which is the number 9 in the world, Bocconi University, amazing university. Arts, culture, and tourism. First in the world for UNESCO World Heritage Site. UNESCO is an organization of the UN that protects the sites which are more meaningful to humanity. And we have 55 of them, same as China. We are a little bit smaller than China, but we are at the top with China. So, in 2019, the most visited UNESCO site is the city center of Matera. It's in the south. It's a city where dwellings were carved out of the stone. It's really impressive again. It's, like I say, it's a bit overstated. It's a dream destination for tourists from around the world. I can say that, it's one of the first destination for extra-European tourists, first destination in the world. But we rank number 5 for visits and number 4 for proceeds in the world. Italy is one of the countries that has won most Academy Awards, 14 of which are in the Best Foreign Film category. Now, we are the country that won most Academy Awards for foreign language films. And considering that there were 28 nominations, overall Italy won 1 award every 2 nominations, which is not bad. So we have a lot of history, a lot of records that points out at the beauty and also the audacity of some of our directors. So I really recommend you. In December, there's going to be a beautiful film festival at the International House downtown in UPenn with a lot of Italian movies. They are totally for free, fantastic. And it's one of the beautiful places in town where you go for free and you can have a debate. Because after the film, the public interacts, we ask questions, we debate, they even can express, disagreement. International indexes. A.T. Kearney, 2019, said that Italy is among the 10 most preferred countries in the world by foreign investors. So we rank quite high in the ranking. Now, there is a beautiful data about the investments in US that is totally, how can I say, it's counterintuitive. I didn't know that there was, throughout the history, Italy has invested throughout the history, in US, $78 billion. Okay, this is direct investments of Italian companies in US. With nowadays, they calculate that the people working at those premises, at those companies, are about 190,000, which is a lot of public, a lot of manpower. Digital tax index, another counterintuitive data and figure, because we think about Italy as one of the countries with the highest tax in the world, in order to face that GDP, to finance that GDP growth quota. Anyway, we've ranked first in the world for tax benefits in research, development, and innovation sector. And the index measures the country's attractiveness in the digital sector. So if you are a company from overseas and you specialize in the digital sector, you better look around and understand what is going on in Italy, because they make you pay very little taxes. It's a little bit like Delaware for certain aspects. Now, Italy is the second healthiest country in the world, but if you Google World Health Organization, we rank #1 in the world for the use of our purse, the health purse, so that we reach a lot of patients in comparison with other countries. So the efficiency of the system and the investment and the novelty, the innovations that they put us at the first place in the world. And this is not me that says that, it's a UN agency. And you take also other criteria which are negative criteria. Let's think about obesity. Let's think about suicide. We don't have those. We of course have suicide and obesity, but we rank one of the best countries in the world for that, which has to do with diet, has to do with a medical system that really works well for the average population. And there are, of course, differences between North and South. Like I was saying before, best nation for longevity. But then it's debated every year between us and Japan. Sardinia and another island in Japan, they struggle to be at the first places. So this year we ranked second, but then in 2019 we were first. Longest life expectancy. That again has to do with style of life, diet, and the importance of the family network. 2019 best countries for cultural point of view, meaning Italy is the 18th in the world for cultural influence and heritage indicators, and second in the adventure indication. Italy is in the top 10 of several other US News World Report rankings. Without losing myself to read this, I think that when it comes to politics, we are in the G8, we are in the G20, we are not a superpower. When it comes to speak about economics, no, we are not superpowers. We are absolutely in a system. When you speak about culture and the articulation of culture, you cannot have a table without Italy. It's the heritage, it's the number of museums, it's the number of the UNESCO sites. It's an unending list of assets. There are national assets that not even me have been across. It's a gold mine. Some of I think that 30% of the 30% of the assets in the museums are kept in the they're not in the warehouses. They cannot access them, and they cannot show them to the public because there's no money enough. They cannot really show everything. So, fourth language study in the US. Each year, approximately, like I was saying, 36,000 students go to Italy for their studies. And grazie per l'attenzione. This is it. I think that we respected the time, and now I really would like to answer all your questions. I'm here for that. This is a dialogue.